Some Israeli soldiers are speaking out on what happened in the Gaza Strip through an organization called Breaking the Silence. And they're saying, yes, we did some things we absolutely shouldn't have done, and it was under orders. We used Palestinian civilians as human shields, and this is different now, because it's one thing for a human rights group to claim it. It's another thing for Israeli soldiers to claim it. Now, of course, before, the Israeli government and the Israeli Defense Forces were like, oh, yeah, these human rights groups, right. It's just rumors and nonsense, and I don't believe a word of it. Now, when the soldiers said, yeah, look, it was me, and I was ordered, and here's what I did, that's a little harder to refute. Nonetheless, of course, the Israeli Defense Forces goes back to, it's rumors, it's hearsay. Right. And they also complained about using white phosphorus in civilian areas. But the third thing I think is very, very important. They said, look, we had orders, especially at nighttime, to shoot anything that moved, because we were not to take any risks, and that we were told in no uncertain terms that our lives are a lot more important. So if you think you got anywhere near a risk, in terms of you can't identify whether it's a civilian or whether it's a combatant, kill it. Now, that's a heavy order, but it goes further. Some of the soldiers talked about, hey, if we're going to take out that house, don't worry about who's inside. Don't worry about if it's a civilian that comes running outside. Take out the entire house. And one of them saying, we were even told, even if it's an old lady that comes out, shoot it. That's pretty harsh, to say the least. And, of course, enormous amount of damage done to Gaza Strip. And we had 200 schools that were taken out, 50,000 homes. Think about that for a second. The Gaza Strip's not that large. 50,000 homes were destroyed. And they would say, what was the standard for destroying a home? Again, these Israeli soldiers saying this. They say, look, you just want a little better eye line to see, to see your sight a little bit better as somebody comes over a hill or whatever and the houses are in the way. Who cares? Just demolish all the houses. Because part of the point wasn't really to get a strategic advantage. It was to do some damage to the civilians, so that they didn't, presumably in the mind of the Israeli army, so that they would know, hey, next time you better not mess with us, because we'll destroy everything in our path. 800 industrial properties were destroyed, 39 mosques, 2 churches. So this is some heavy-duty stuff here. And it's, on the flip side to this, I will say, the positive thing about Israel is that they do have organizations that do look for conscientious objectors and, for soldiers who have, troubles with what happened. And there are groups within Israel who are allowed to speak out and who say what happened here was wrong and what our government did is wrong. Now, that's pretty healthy. Now, you don't get that in all the governments in the Middle East. I can't imagine that Syria is in some sort of conflict and then they have a similar group breaking the silence that comes out and the government lets them talk about all the things that the Syrian government or defense forces did wrong. I just don't see that, right? So you got to give the society overall some credit for having this group and for the soldiers for speaking out. But obviously what they've spoken out about is fairly devastating. And if Israel cares to have the moral high ground, this is obviously not how you get it. But it appears from these reports that they don't care about that they were trying to send the opposite message, that we will kill everything in our path, if you mess with us. Now, some people will agree with that message, think that's the way to go in war. But it is what it is, and the Israeli Defense Forces denying it seems absurd at this point.
Watch the live show at theyoungturks.com.